Have you ever thought that a single encounter could be enough to erase every advantage? Without needing to say where, once instinct takes over, every movement becomes dangerous. Get ready, because right after this, you will witness some of the most unbelievable confrontations ever recorded involving birds of prey. Rare footage revealing the fragile line between hunter and hunted. Follow along now. Seagull versus rabbit. On Stockholm Island, the morning does not begin with the sound of waves, but with low circling flights of seagulls. They are not searching for fish. Sharp eyes sweep across the grassy fields, where rabbits often leave their burrows early to forage. With the absence of large terrestrial predators such as foxes or wolves, the great black-backed gull has risen to the position of apex predator. They often lurk around rabbit burrows, waiting for young rabbits to poke their heads out before launching an attack. It yanks with its entire body weight. The rabbit is dragged out in panic, its frantic struggle nearly meaningless. For another gull, stealing prey from its own kind costs far less energy than hunting a fleeing rabbit on its own. But in the end, only one side gets to eat. Great blue heron versus gopher. A great blue heron stands motionless in a low grassy area, then suddenly drives its long beak straight into the ground. A gopher becomes its meal for the day. Although fish are its primary diet, the great blue heron is a true opportunistic predator. If wetlands run low on food, or if a more protein-rich meal presents itself on land, it will not hesitate. A single gopher provides as many calories as dozens of small fish. Unlike weasels or cats that chase their prey, great blue herons hunt rodents with extraordinary patience, capable of standing still for hours, waiting for prey to emerge from a burrow. The moment the gopher sticks its head out, the heron strikes with a speed nearly impossible for the human eye to follow. Its sharp beak functions like a spear, piercing straight through the prey's body. Because gophers have relatively bulky bodies and thick fur, swallowing them is a challenge. You can see the heron's neck bulge disturbingly as the gopher passes through the esophagus. Cobra versus Kookaburra. A cobra slithers out from the bushes and suddenly encounters a formidable opponent, a Kookaburra. When facing a cobra, the Kookaburra does not rush in to peck immediately. It lowers its wings, spreads them wide like fans, and sweeps them close to the ground. As the cobra flares its hood and prepares to strike, it becomes confused, unable to distinguish the bird's true body from its wings. Its reflexes operate at the level of spinal instinct, without requiring conscious brain processing. The cobra must continuously rotate its head to track the bird, quickly becoming disoriented and fatigued in the neck muscles. As the cobra attempts to flee, in a brief instant, the strike lands. A snake can only attack effectively when coiled or in a defensive posture. When stretched out to retreat into a hole, it completely loses its ability to counterattack. No multiple blows are needed. A thin skull and centralized nervous system cause the snake to lose control almost immediately. This confrontation shows that venom does not always determine the outcome. For the Kookaburra, victory comes from reading movement, maintaining distance, and striking at the perfect moment where speed and precision matter more than raw strength. Pigeon versus pigeon. How do some of the most familiar creatures maintain cohesion within confined spaces? At high nesting sites, life is not only about survival, but also about subtle social rituals. Inside the nest, one pigeon moves cautiously over the rocky surface, constantly observing its surroundings and establishing its presence within the limited territory. The arrival of a new individual does not trigger immediate conflict, but instead initiates a sequence of highly social behaviors. When another pigeon appears at the entrance, initial wariness quickly shifts into interaction. The two individuals collide, one attempting to assert dominance, the other equally defiant. One individual ultimately decides to leave the nest, yielding the space to the other. This departure is not a defeat, but a necessary adjustment to maintain peace. These brief interactions are key to how pigeons adapt and thrive even in artificial environments. Eagle versus snow goose. How can a single individual survive amid the chaos of tens of thousands of others? In nature, large numbers often serve as the best shield, but that very density also attracts the most patient predators. With keen eyesight and razor-sharp talons, the bald eagle does not attack immediately. It studies the movement, waiting for a weak link to reveal itself within the vast wall of white feathers. The eagle's presence forces the entire flock of geese to remain in constant motion, draining energy and increasing the likelihood of mistakes. On the icy water, one goose lags behind. The eagle seizes the moment. A precise talon strike ends the chase. On the frozen surface, the victor stands firm. Even a single second of inattention can cost a life. Pigeon versus sparrowhawk. Under the gray skies of a quiet countryside, a flock of pigeons glides freely. But in nature, peace is often just a thin veil covering an imminent ambush. From a superior altitude, a professional hunter appears. The game changes when the hawk folds its wings and enters a steep dive. The pigeons sense death's presence and instantly scatter. Chaos becomes opportunity for the hunter. The real battle unfolds in mid-air. The Sparrowhawk executes breathtaking turns, closely pursuing a lone individual. In the decisive moment, sharp talons strike, locking onto the prey in a powerful collision. Owl chick versus rat. Inside a nest of young birds, the sense of safety is shattered when an uninvited guest emerges from the shadows. A large rat takes advantage of the parent's absence, invading the nest and feeding on the remains of a dead chick. For immature birds of prey, defensive instinct is limited to helpless cries and attempts to duck away. The disparity in mobility within the confined space leaves the chicks completely vulnerable. The rat circles among them without launching any direct attacks. This tense encounter reveals another side of nature. Not every interspecies meeting ends in violence. A fragile peace is maintained when the rat eventually leaves, leaving the chicks unharmed after an early lesson in vigilance. Kookaburra versus snake. In a confined space, a dramatic three-way confrontation quietly unfolds. A large kookaburra faces a furious snake head-on, yet the danger does not come solely from what is moving. Another snake, seemingly badly injured, stays away, unwilling to approach the bird. The active snake repeatedly launches deadly strikes, but the kookaburra controls the rhythm. It spreads its wings like a false shield, causing the snake to lose direction and waste venom into empty space. This is a game of patience and observation. The standoff drags on as neither side is willing to retreat. When the moment is right, the kookaburra launches its decisive attack. It grips the snake's body with its beak and violently slams it against the hard-tiled ground. This action quickly paralyzes the nervous system and eliminates the prey's ability to resist. When instinct meets strategy, the one who controls the tempo becomes the final victor. What you have just seen reminds us that in the wild, nowhere is truly safe. No matter the setting, every encounter is a test of survival, where predators may gain the upper hand but can also pay a heavy price. Victory and defeat always walk side by side, and a single mistake can be enough to change everything. If you felt the tension and drama of these moments, press like, leave a comment sharing your feelings, and subscribe to continue exploring the most authentic stories of the wild. Thank you for watching until the end. See you again on the next journey.